Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second day of our Progireg midterm conference from Torino, Italy. As you already know, I'm Elena D'Ambrogio from the city of Torino, one of the project partners of the Progireg project that, as you know, is aimed at promoting urban regeneration into post-industrial areas, cities, through the deployment of nature-based solutions which in parallel can improve the quality of the environment of public spaces to support social inclusion and to create new economic opportunities for all. And today I'm here with a special guest which you already met yesterday, Vittorio Bianco from Fondazione Comunità di Mirafiori.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Vittorio. As we did yesterday, we will continue our trip in our Turin Living Lab Mirafiori South, discovering how this district, which is located at the south margin of our city, a former industrial district due to the presence, to the strong presence of the Fiat plants, is transforming and adopting more and more a green identity, also thanks to the 6 nature-based solutions that we are realizing and to the Progireg project. So again, we will discover Mirafiori through a bike ride done by our dear colleague Laura, and we will discover some further challenges and other nature-based solutions planned or realized through, again, the dialogue with partners like you, Vittorio, local key actors, citizens, and users. But before beginning, let me thank again Green P Premises, the first green and circular retail in Italy, a clear example of a nearly zero energy building with a wonderful green roof, which you can't see now, but I really assure that it is a wonderful place, and which is hosting us for the second day. But now it's time to begin our next trip in Mirafiori South. And so, Vittorio, do you want to help me to introduce this first tour today?
Sure. I would like to explain why Fondazione Mirafiori choose to adopt this MBS, because South Mirafiori is a neighborhood with a lot of vegetable gardens, but they are all near the southern border of the district, near the Sangone River. So we wanted to create some vegetable gardens also among the houses near the places where people actually live.
Okay, great. And as I remember, the first step of this trip is a visit to the vegetable garden created during the pandemic in the courtyard of the association Crescere Insieme. And here, also during the pandemic, food was produced and distributed to families in difficulty during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we are very curious and happy to introduce the first video of our virtual tour. Let's go.
This is the location of Associazione Crescere Insieme Onlus. They have a veggie garden in the courtyard.
Orti tra le case, garden among the houses, is one of the MBS Fondazione Mirafiori is responsible for. It consists in small-scale installations, small container gardens in wooden boxes. In each site, we have placed a small number of wooden boxes. And the aim of the action is to have places where people of the neighborhood can gather, can work together, can learn how to grow vegetables, can rediscover a contact with nature and with agriculture. Of course, COVID-19 has a bit changed our plans, because in this context, we cannot have large gatherings of people. 2 of the gardens were already realized before the COVID-19 pandemics. One is Casa del Mondo Unito Garden. It consists of wooden box in a building where asylum seekers refugees are hosted, and they grow herbs, basically. Then we have another small garden in Mira Fleming, which is a youth center. So it's both recreational, but also for education in a way. Also, even if in a context which is not the school, so it's more play and learn. We still have to implement 2 of the gardens, the largest ones, which are planned in open area on the streets, let's say. And we are waiting that the COVID restrictions are lifted so that we can plan a good engagement plan. And now we are in Crescere Insieme, which wasn't planned and at the beginning. It is very near to one of the public spaces where we wanted to install our wooden boxes. But because of COVID crisis, we decided to have a place, a safe place where to grow vegetables for people in need.
We began last year in January and February 2020 with a series of lessons and meetings about urban horticulture. They were open to adults and also to children, with educative laboratories for the younger.
L'associazione Crescere Insieme è presente a Torino, Regione Piemonte, dal 1985 e come finalità di questa associazione di volontariato è sempre stata e lo è tuttora quella di dedicarsi a famiglie in difficoltà, persone in difficoltà. Per cui in questi anni attraverso un lavoro in rete con associazioni cooperative del territorio e in particolare con Fondazione Mirafiori abbiamo voluto diventare uno snodo per poter utilizzare i prodotti che raccogliamo attraverso banco alimentare o altre situazioni commerciali o attraverso la produzione di ortaggi rispetto a questa situazione di orto che abbiamo organizzato per fornire borse alimentari alle persone in difficoltà. Con Fondazione Mirafiori che sta rispondendo insieme a noi risponde alle difficoltà economiche del territorio, abbiamo pensato attraverso un progetto Progireg di dare la disponibilità di utilizzo di una parte di giardino, di terreno attiguo alla struttura per riuscire a realizzare delle coltivazioni, degli ortaggi finalizzati poi alla distribuzione alimentare a persone in difficoltà, famiglie in difficoltà.
Here we are. So we have seen the potential of small-scale diffuse urban gardening installations to promote social inclusion and combat food poverty, even during the pandemic. Several groups of people have been involved, refugees, asylum seekers, families in difficulties, young people, and also with different scopes, social inclusion, recreation, new skill creation, learning, and simply living. So, Vittorio, which citizens, which groups of citizens did you have the chance to involve, and how, and what the first results of these activities?
Well, as you said, there are many groups, many different groups, and the level of engagement has been different for different groups. For instance, regarding refugees and asylum seekers, we have installed the wooden boxes right in the place where they live. So they were quite autonomous in managing it. And during the COVID pandemic, they started also garden in the ground in the same building, next to the same building. So we like to think that somehow we inspired them to grow their own food. In the boxes, they grow just herbs they use in for the food they prepare in the building. But now they are also growing other kind of vegetables. Then we have teenagers. We have organized activities with them, so they are always working in the wooden boxes together with their educators, and it's more an educational activity. And finally, in the vegetable garden in Via Onorato Vigliani, we are engaging different groups of people because this is somehow a public space. It doesn't belong to any specific group. And the plan was to involve all the citizens, so without focusing on a specific target. But since large gatherings are not possible at the moment, we are focusing on specific groups. We are working with the local mental health center. So we are working with people with different kinds of mental disability. And it's quite a success because growing food is also a therapeutic activity for them, and they like it. So we think we will keep involving these groups also when a larger group of citizens will be involved.
Great. The message that we also gathered yesterday from learning activities in school was that take care of nature is a way to discover ourselves and take care of ourselves and of our world. So I think that the same is for these different groups of people who find an opportunities for development in today's activities. And it seems that it is already quite a success, but of course we are curious to follow your activities in the coming months. So I guess that you have already planned activities for the coming months and years, and that are they assured, and what are the plans?
Obviously we are waiting for the COVID-19 pandemic to give us some freedom again. So it seems that since May we will be able again to meet, even with social distancing and etc. So we hope to organize some events in Via Onorato Vigliani. We hope to install the garden near Crescere Insieme, which will be in a public space inside a garden, a small garden. And so we hope that also in that part of the city we will be able to involve citizens more freely than before. And afterwards, when the works for the green corridor will be completed, we will install the last one, the last wooden box garden. But we don't have a certain date for that at the moment. And afterwards, we will have to create actually the group that will take care of these gardens, even after the project ends.
Yeah, great. So the involvement process has been carried out in different steps, from the co-design phase in small groups, and after the pandemic, we will hope to have bigger events into the city, I guess from 2022, both in Mirafiori and maybe in the city, to showcase the results of our activities in Mirafiori. Okay, thank you, Vittorio.
Thank you.
It's now time to launch the second step of our trip today. And we will go nearby the ex-Fiat plant, near the headquarters of the Polytechnic of Torino, which was built really in place of all the Fiat warehouses, which are no longer used, of course. And the faculty is home to the systemic design courses, which are highly involved into our co-design activities, and the professors are actively involved in the implementation of the Progireg project. And we will see not only the professors, but also students who helped us in prototyping indoor and outdoor walls. So I guess that remotely there is Professor Christian Campagnaro from the Polytechnic of Turin.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Christian. Thanks for being here. And I would ask you if you can help me to launch the video, to introduce the video.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So the next stop is the Polytechnic Citadel of Design and Sustainability and the close-mir MRF space. So here, decades ago, Fiat, now Stellantis, used to build cars. Under the roof of those industrial buildings, thousands of people worked. Today, it is a place where sustainability and inclusion is taught, and smart development and production model are studied and designed. And of course, also public exhibition and meeting are held. So the industrial buildings managed by T&E was and will be converted in research, educational exhibition spaces, atriums and green spaces for the students, scholars and researchers from Politecnico di Torino, and for the competence center for 4.0 industry and for citizens too. So enjoy the trip.
Thank you, Christian, and we will see each other later to comment other steps in our trip.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. So let's go. Let's begin again our trip.
We are at the T&E space, or this is an ex-warehouse of Fiat. This space was dismissed approximately in at the end of the 1990s, and then was overcome by the T&E public company, which basically the aims of this public company is to regenerate the ex-industrial areas of Mirafiori South. This is exactly the example of why Progireg it's a very key project in this area, because it allowed us to understand the possibilities that nature-based solutions have in these dismissed dry environments. At the same time, these warehouses have been the target of many regeneration projects, such as we're going to see right in front, the Faculty of Design and an automobile of the Politecnico di Torino, which has overtaken one of the warehouses and turned it into a faculty. So precisely these post-industrial sites show us the potential that the Mirafiori South post-industrial precinct areas have. Personally, for my PhD research project, the Progireg has been fundamental to understand a way Mirafiori as how to regenerate it as a living lab, and how we can propose through nature-based solutions like circular business models through these solutions. How nature-based solutions are a key part for circularity in these post-industrial precincts, and precisely more to Mirafiori, that regeneration actions are the leverage for change, or the leverage to activate other circular or sustainable development activities, and also how to enhance the local value that these precincts, being a peri-urban area, can offer.
In March 2019, we developed the workshop Life on Wall, 1 week workshop, and the student, and this workshop was for the student that attend the master degree in systemic design. The aim of this workshop that I coordinate, and the workshop was titled Life on Wall, was to create a prototype of a green wall. So this workshop was involved 18 students. So we have on Friday the final discussion and final presentation of this three module for indoor, outdoor, and freestanding green wall.
Okay, here we are again with our friend Alessandra Aires from the city of Torino. Good morning, Alessandra.
Good morning, Elena.
So I took some notes. Some keywords here were co-design and prototyping for community NBS. Christian, this sounds for you. Circular business models, regeneration of post-industrial sites. So as you have seen, the future of the area we visited is somehow still to be written, because TNE is meant to find a new vocation, to realize this vocation for these spaces, which has been offered within Progireg as a place where it is possible to carry out temporary green installations or to host a venue to co-design the future of Mirafiori and of the city. And some of the installations of NBS installations that can also be economic development opportunities that we are seizing as a city in areas like these, in post-industrial buildings, like also imagine the Ortuau building that we saw yesterday, are innovative and soilless urban agriculture techniques such as aquaponics or aeroponics, which could help regenerate spaces like these, improving environmental conditions and help create new economic opportunities. So what do you think about this, Alessandra?
Yes, I think it's a really good opportunity. As we are a post-industrial city, we have so many places that could be adapted to this kind of new NBS. And so as many other places, as Rolf will tell us later in Germany, so I think that Torino has a lot of spaces that can be adapted to this and can really something to get green where green was not. So where there was gray, now taking some more green, it would be really good.
Yeah, and without taking soil.
Yes, without consuming soil and using soil that now is being abandoned. So it's a double check, it's a double opportunity, really.
Yeah, that's why I'm very, very happy to announce that very soon, before the summer, the city of Torino will be able to launch within the Progireg project a call for testing aimed to attract private operators to promote testing activities of aquaponics in Torino. So the idea is to offer the possibility to test the technical, economical, and social feasibility of such operations in our territory, so to help to reduce the time to the market of these innovative techniques, to improve the local knowledge about them, and not only it will help not only private operators but also us, the city, to understand in real how such installation can be managed, even through social innovative processes that can involve, again, the community in the co-management and also help in creating new skills for new jobs for the future. To this scope, through this call for testing, a small grant will be assigned to the 2 best solutions that will be accessed after this call for testing. And I think that next spring, when we hopefully could meet together among all partners somewhere in Europe, we will be able to report back about first results. But Alessandra, as you told, when we are speaking about aquaponic in Torino, immediately we think to our front-runner companion, Dortmund. And here we have remotely Rolf Morgenstern from the city, the front-runner city Dortmund. And I would ask to you, Rolf, if you could tell us something about aquaponic in Dortmund and the concept that you are deploying.
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. If possible, I would like to give a short presentation. Is that I still cannot activate the screen sharing. Laura, could you make that possible, please?
We are checking if possible.
Okay. I can just start talking. What we have seen in Europe, now I see it works. Just give me a second. Okay, this one. All right.
We're sharing.
Okay. I would just talk a little bit about the challenges we had identified before the project already regarding aquaponics, the solutions we are going to implement, the barriers we encountered so far in our living lab, and also the concepts we had to change within this process. When we look at aquaponics in Europe, what we mostly see are small-scale, non-commercial systems, like educational systems, community systems, or research systems, or larger scale systems that are aiming for a commercial market, trying to market the fish and vegetables. These are usually in the range of 1,000 to 1,500 square meters of size, which is actually rather small. There is no in-between so far, and we think that there is a slot of economical viability for smaller scale systems if we choose the right concepts. This aquaponic community and research is very much driven by the aquaculture side, so there is not a lot of focus on the horticulture, which is a problem. So the challenges we identified is that the urban space is not as available as we think. There is a seasonality and the nutrient balance has to be adapted to that. Energy costs and energy concepts are something you have to think about. Labor costs and also upscaling or having an alternative business model is something you have to think about. So about urban space availability and costs. Oftentimes we are working under the premise that there are a lot of unused spaces in the cities really available. There is some city planning already oftentimes, and sometimes the city says, well, we want to have this kind of space here, maybe in 5 or 10 years. And that is a barrier in securing the space for your project, especially if you want to build a structure like a greenhouse. So what we are aiming for are interim usage concepts where you maybe use the space for an aquaponic system for a limited amount of time. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And then you have to design the system in a way that you can move it to another space when this space is going to be used in another way. This is just a symbol diagram of this nutrient availability from the aquaculture, which is sort of constant over the year if you have a conventional system. And the nutrient demand on the plant side is very seasonal. In the summer, when there is a lot of sun, the plants need a lot of nutrients, and in the winter, they don't need the nutrients. In the summertime, you can just use additional fertilizer to solve this problem. So in the summer, it's not really a problem if your aquaculture is not supplying you with a lot of nutrients. You can just add some more fertilizer. But in the wintertime problem space where you have too much nutrients for your hydroculture to absorb them. And you cannot just dump them into the sewage because of regulations. So this is a problem we try to solve with some storage tanks. We have a concept of a multifunctional storage. Then there are energy costs in the larger scale systems we saw in Europe so far. Usually they have a same crop all year concept where they are producing all year long with the same productivity. Also in order to solve this nutrient availability problem. So in the wintertime, these systems are using a lot of electricity for lighting and also a lot of heat for heating. Labor costs, we did a feasibility study within our university, and we found that this red section here on the aquaculture and also on the hydroculture, these are the labor costs. So the labor costs for such a system are quite significant. And there is a large scaling effect. So the larger your system, the more opportunities you have to automate things and to make things more efficient. So the larger your system is, the smaller and this red area will become relative to your other costs. Wrong direction. These findings are also supported by the feasibility studies of our project partner, Aquaponic Manufacturers. So whenever I talk with Ingo and Michael, they sort of come to the same conclusions in their work. So if you are upscaling your system to solve this labor cost problem, for example, and to make your system economically feasible, you might end up with a system like this, where you have a lot of uniform letters in a large scale system, and then you might run into a marketing problem. When the people see your system, it just looks like industrial food production. And maybe it's really difficult to communicate how sustainable and really nice and good your production method is, because this looks like industrial scale production. So our thesis is that when you upscale your aquaponic system to a size that is economically feasible, you probably have a communication and marketing problem. Wrong direction. So to get to our solutions, this is a drawing of the system we would like to set up. We are going to build 2 greenhouses and 2 complete systems, one for control and one where we want to optimize energy and resource usage. And we need these 2 systems so we get data that we can compare with each other. So they are going to be just in the same space. And we are aiming to design a zero discharge system that is suitable for a multi-year interim usage. So you can just set it up, hopefully quite fast, and just produce for the time that is given to you, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And then you can just dismantle your system and move it to another space. This is why we are going for these foil tunnels, because usually you can use these without a without using fundaments in the ground. And we are going for a low-tech approach that is combined with high-tech. So we try to adopt this as a clever tech. We want to use smart solutions, but the general approach is supposed to be low-tech. The whole system, we want to design it as a passive solar greenhouse. We are going for a Chinese-style greenhouse. And these Chinese greenhouses, they are located in an east to west form. So this is the northern wall, and the sun is hitting the wall and it is heating up the wall. So you have some passive solar effects, and you capture the radiation during the day to radiate it into the greenhouse during the night. And these foil tunnels, they are really high quality. And we don't want to build a Chinese greenhouse with a wall because we want to make it removable. So we are going for a ready-made approach, where we use conventional greenhouse tunnels. And instead of having a brick wall on the north side, we would place IBC tanks on the north side of the greenhouse, where we have some shading up here and also insulation. And then the winter sun, which will fall in very shallow. Then we don't have any tomatoes here. We will have, for example, microgreens or something that is not blocking the sunlight. So the winter sun can hit the tanks and warm them up, and the summer sun will be much steeper and we are going to have tomatoes in front of the tanks. So the sun is hitting the tomatoes and not the tanks. So this is the passive solar concept we are going for. This functional storage wall is supposed to capture rainwater, and in the wintertime, it's also supposed to capture process water. So we are going to solve this problem with the excess process water we might have in winter, also with this IBC storage wall. And we have to develop some intelligent and smart concept on how to load and unload the process water, rainwater, and also the thermal energy. We are also going for a different crop approach. So in the summertime, we are going for the usual leafy greens and also tomatoes and cucumbers and herbs. And in the wintertime, we are going to focus on lettuce, because lettuce can cope with lower temperatures, and also for microgreens. These are growing very shallow, so they are not blocking the sunlight that is supposed to hit the thermal storage. Next. So this is, as said, this concept where we have this storage wall here. So in total, it's going to be a passive solar greenhouse with an internal thermal storage system. And in addition to that, we are calculating around about 15 resource optimizing ideas. This is an ongoing process with the partner Aquaponic Manufacture. And so within this process, we want to identify from these additional resource optimization methods, we want to identify those that are the most promising and that are suitable for this kind of system. So for example, we are also looking into a compost heater. So maybe it makes sense to integrate a compost heater to have some more heating to solve the heating problem in the winter. And we are starting to do experiments on the thermal wall. This is a picture from a couple of days ago from Soest, where my colleague Rodi already ordered these tanks, and we are going to build an experiment to gather some data on the thermal behavior of these tanks. Regarding the upscaling and the business model, we had the idea that we would like to decouple the production volume from the revenue. And in order to do this, we were inspired by the rent a field concept. So what we would like to do is to rent the rafts to the neighbors and to the people. And by doing this, the people running the system, they are turning from producers into service providers. So they don't have to produce the lettuce and harvest it and sell it to the market, but instead they are going to rent the rafts to the citizens in the vicinity of the system. And so these people can come to the system and get together, produce together, and have an indoor garden. And the positive side is that these plants, it's meant for people that don't have their own garden. Maybe they don't want to have their own garden because it's just too much and they don't have the time to really take care of it. But still they want to produce some of their food by themselves. So they can rent a raft like this, maybe 1 square meter. And the plants, they will always be watered. They will always be fertilized. And the people running the system, they are taking care of the plant protection with insects and natural remedies for the pests. So this is the idea we have to turn the people running the system from a producer into a service company, and thereby decoupling the production volume from the revenue. And of course, we will have to design these rafts because nobody wants to have 15 lettuces ready at the same time and nothing else in between. So we are going to design rafts where maybe you have some taller plants here and some medium height plants here and maybe some lettuce here. So we are going to design this with students or maybe also with the people helping us with the prototype. The nice thing is if you have your raft neighbor and you are producing on your square meter and the person who is right beside you, you don't really like him or her, you can just take your raft and go somewhere else, you know. So that system will be very flexible with social regard. Okay, we had some barriers in the system. We there was some contamination on the site that was not only in the soil, which we would have solved with just using aquaponics, but the contamination is as a vapor is getting out of the soil. So we had to have some gas-tight cover layer installed below the greenhouses. And because of this contamination on the chosen site, it is unclear whether the food is really edible. So we are going to have it tested and analyzed for, I think the contaminants are PAKs, which are cancerogenic. So we have to check whether the food we produce there is really edible. One problem is with the architectural stability of the system. They are calculated in a simplified way, so they are not suitable for the public to enter the greenhouse. So this rent-a-field business model we came up with, maybe it has to be adapted. So that is something that has to do with the building permit. Okay. And also there is, because we are classifying the whole system as an experiment, we would probably have to declare it as an animal experiment if we include the fishes from the start. So these additional costs we had there as a barrier that has been resolved within the Living Lab Dortmund consortium. So some partners, especially the partner city of Dortmund, was guaranteeing that the system will be financed, which is really awesome. Regarding the question whether the food will be edible, our faculty is going to carry the cost for the additional analysis. And regarding the rent-a-field or rent-a-raft business models, this is actually the problem we have at this point. The architectural static for this system is simplified, and so when there are strong winds, they might end up like this, or if there is a lot of snow on top, it might be dangerous to get inside the system. Actually, this is really easy to solve. You can just tell the people, if there is 1 meter of snow on the greenhouse, just don't go inside. So that can be solved on an organizational way. Also, we can tell our customers or the people using the system, well, if there is a storm, please do not enter the greenhouse, which is really simple. But the authority that has to issue the building permit still cannot allow this to be a public space. So we have to adapt a little bit. And we can give visitors a tour through the system, and then if people are really interested, they can become part of the Urbanisten, and then they will be part of the team officially, and then they can enter the system. Okay, and if we are going to do workshops, we can do the workshops outside of the greenhouses in some other nearby locations. So that is also solved. Regarding not having fishes, we developed an idea. We are taking a lot of measurements because we want to know the energy resource efficiency of the optimizations we are developing. So we are going to have a lot of data about the system and also about the water quality. So we can log the conditions for the fishes, and on a later stage when we have this data, we can approach the authorities and tell them, okay, now we would like to rear some fishes in the system, and this is the data proving that they are not being harmed. Apart from that, we are aiming for more a multi-trophic system where we are producing algae to feed, for example, Daphnia and Tubifex and some small zooplankton, and this zooplankton is meant to be fish food. So something you would not do in a commercial aquaponic system because the fish food is so cheap. To produce your own fish food, that is something you would not do because it's not economically feasible. But with this alternative business model we have, where people are renting the rafts and your revenue is fixed, the productivity of the aquaculture system is not that critical. So then we can go and have a really nice multi-trophic system where we prove to the people that the fish food is really sustainable because we are producing it ourselves in the same system. So this is also an educational part where we can make the whole system visible. Also food chains can visualize. So this has a really nice educational aspect. And still we think with this alternative business model that this can be economically feasible.
Rolf, this
Yes.
presentation was really insightful, and I think that it will deserve really a more in-depth confrontation among us. And you explained very well all the areas of complexity: the technical solution, the economic viability, the communication to the audience, and the community engagement part. We have also gathered some questions from the public, but we are running late, so I think that we will come back to you, not only from the City of Turin, because also Alessandra was interested, for instance, in understanding more, but also gathering the questions from the audience.
Yes, I'm happy to answer any question. And also after this event, if anybody would like to have some contact, we are very open for communication and exchange.
Thank you. Please contact us. Thank you very much, Rolf, and all. Alessandra, do you want to?
Yes, it was very inspiring. For instance, I do believe that the temporary use is quite interesting for this kind of NBS solution because it's something that can get the limelight on places that are neglected or abandoned. So why not thinking about a temporary use that is not the normal, popular temporary use that is shopping and consuming, but this will be a temporary use for producing and green producing. So why not taking the light on some places, and then maybe we can keep on that kind of thing, so maybe change the place and go somewhere else. It's something very important for the planning of the city, and for our city is really a clever idea. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you again, Rolf, and also Christian and all. And as you have seen today, we started straight to the point. So I think we need a little bit rest, and we need to play again. So I'm happy to announce our second and last Kahoot for NBS Net, as we have called it. And just a few instructions. The second Kahoot is more difficult. I can suggest to look very well at Alessandra now, because afterwards you will not have the possibility to do so. But I'm sure that you are now all more prepared about our Living Lab in Torino. So do really your best, because not only you will amuse yourself, but there is the possibility to win a special prize for the winners, which is a flower pot with a butterfly, handmade by a social cooperative engaging disabled people in citizen science activity to monitor pollinators in Mirafiori South. So let's do your best. A few rules. Please, first of all, write your nickname in a recognizable way, because the winners will be asked to send an email afterwards to the email progireg@comune.torino.it, and my colleagues will write it down into the chat with their house address, so that we can send to the winners their prize. And last, in order to win, as you have tested, you have to be smart and quick. And now I ask, as usual, to our Kahoot expert, Mattia, to remotely help me with this last Kahoot. And let's play.
Hello, hello, Helena. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yes, okay. So, okay, let's play. Okay, so first thing first, join at www.kahoot.it with the game pin 99870946. I put the numbers in the chat. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, now you can see that you can join us at www.kahoot.it. The number is 987-0946. You can find all the information in the chat. You are more than 60, so I wait a few minutes so everyone can join us for this game. So I hope you take interest for these 2 days of conferences because the questions are about our project. So now we will see who is the best one in the group. Okay, we have 31. Okay, I remember you that you can find all the information in the chat and we can start playing. Okay, we go. Okay, first question. Progireg, Turin site visit. 3, 2, 1, go. First question. Progireg in Turin is active. In one school, red button. Painting walls in green color, blue button. Only in primary school, yellow button. In different type of schools, green button. Remember, more you will be fast, more points you get. So, okay, so the right answer is that in different type of school. Okay, the best one is Luca, and the second place is for Eva. Next one. So now it's true or false. In Spazio Wow, citizens can become beekeepers. Blue is true, red is false. Okay, fast. Blue is true, red is false. In Spazio Wow, citizens can become beekeepers. Okay, the right answer is blue, true. 29 right answer. Luca is the first one and Eva is the second one. Okay, next, third questions. What color are Alessandra Ayers, the landscape architect? Red is blonde, blue is brown and pink, yellow is brown, green button is red. So is blonde, brown and pink, brown, or red? Okay, and the right answer is brown and pink. You can check in real time on the camera. And so Luca is the best one, but Alessandra joined the second place. So 4 questions. Remember is what isn't an ingredient of new soil? What isn't an ingredient? Sorry, what isn't an ingredient of new soil? Soil from deep excavation, red button. Biochar, blue button. Compost, yellow button. Biotic compound, green button. So what isn't an ingredient? Don't miss. Okay, the right answer is biochar isn't an ingredient of new soil. This question is very hard. So Luca, but not Luca B, but Luca, just Luca, is the first one, and the second place is for Laura. So we are in the middle. The Bella Rosine Mausoleum was the tomb of the wife of King of Italy. Blue for true, red for false. The Bella Rosine Mausoleum was the tomb of the wife of King of Italy. Remember, Bella Rosine was the lover and then became the wife. Yes, it's true. This was the wife of the King of Italy. Not easy, not easy. Okay, next. 6. Multi-select. So now you have to choose more than one answer. If you go to Orti Generali, you can red, ride a horse, blue, see a peacock, yellow, buy a vegan sandwich, green, get rest on a hammock. So more than one answer. You can ride a horse for red, See a peacock is blue, buy a vegan sandwich yellow. Okay, you can do a lot of things, but you can't ride an horse. Okay, but E is in the first now with, okay, 7 to 10. True or false? The garden in Associazione Crescere Insieme started only after COVID. I placed this game, I think, 3 or 4 times, and I always mistake this answer. Only after COVID. Okay, true is blue, false is red. Okay, and the right answer is true. A lot of participants say false, but it's true. The garden in Associazione Crescere Insieme started only after COVID. Okay, E is making a comeback with 3 in a row. Good, and Vittorio is the second one. So 8 to 10, the location of Polytechnical Faculty of Systemic Design is in a countryside, the red button, along the river, blue button, in the factory block, yellow button, on the hill, green button. You remember we make a very beautiful shoot by a drone of this place. Very nice, because the Politecnico is in the factory block. Okay, a lot of right answer. But now Eva is in the first place. Nice. So 9 to 10, true or false? The outdoor green wall in Torino is an abandoned building. True or false? Abandoned building. The green wall. Speak about the green wall in the first day. And the correct answer is false. False. Is not in an abandoned building, but is in outside door. Vittorio is the first. Nice, Vittorio, and Alessandra is the second, and Eva is in the third. So, last question, and then we will see the podium. 10 to 10. Recently, it was created a new typical product of Mirafiori. What is it? A bike inspired by Progireg, a cake inspired by the Catherine of Habsburg, a honey fragrance, a jewel inspired by butterfly. This is very, very hard question, but also testy question. Is a cake, is a bike, is a honey, or jewel? Is a cake. So now, rien ne va plus. Okay, at third place, Frank Tambo. Second place for Alessandra P. And the first is for Vittorio. So Vittorio, you win this Progireg touring site visit. Nice. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for playing with us.
Congratulations to all of you. And we would have hoped that our special prize could go abroad, but I guess that we have a very tough local followers. So we have spoken about the cake, Mirafiori cake, and we have the pleasure, me and Alessandra, to taste it. This is Tronchetto di Caterina. So, as you have heard yesterday, we not only have a Progireg jingle, and I take the opportunity to thank Franco Pistono from Arpa Piemonte, who composed the music and sang for us our final jingle. But we have also a Progireg cake. How is it?
It's very good. I was so curious to taste it. It's very good because it tastes from the past and from the future, because it has like 500 years. It is the original recipe of the cake, and is going to go to the future because the Progireg project is something that is going towards, looking toward the future. So it's fantastic. It's really tasty.
And it is also the right time to eat it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I also specifically clarify that this cake is accompanied by a history that is like a legend, which as always is something is true, something is not, but it is fascinating, and it really tells the history of Mirafiori, of Caterina d'Habsburg, which was introduced yesterday, and is a way to continue to link the identity of Mirafiori with its history, its nature, its food. Okay, so Alessandra, I'm sorry to interrupt our breakfast, but during the next video we could continue. And I would ask you to help me again introduce the next step in our trip, where we will visit the outdoor green wall at the dormitory in Corso Tazzoli.
Yes, this was the second green wall, as you will see in the video. It was very interesting, even because it was a totally different condition than, from the one in the school. And this is a place where during the COVID, it was quite different, the living of people over there, because before COVID, they only were there for the night. And during COVID, they could stay there for 24 hours. So this became really a social place. And the most important thing was that improving the place with the green wall was also improving the living of the people there. So this is quite a good result for us.
Thanks for this great introduction. I see also Christian, with whom we will comment afterwards. And let's see it. It is a really a touching example of how NBS can promote dignity, citizenship, and improve quality of life for all. So let's see the video.
Hi Riccardo, this is our last stop in Corso Tazzoli with the dormitory for homeless. How are you?
Hi Laura, I'm fine, thank you. Let me explain what is the role of the city as a partner of a Progireg consortium. The city is responsible for the work package 3. The work package related to the physical implementation of each MBS in each living lab. A document that will contain all the information related and needed to implement an MBS, from the co-design phase to the implementation itself, the physical implementation, the maintenance, and eventually the handover.
So why a green wall here in a shelter for homeless people? First, because even shelter for homeless people are part of our cities, and Progireg is for our cities. Second, because even homeless people are citizens, and Progireg is for citizens. So we look at this project as an opportunity from a perspective of inclusion and social justice. So we used the project to reconnect the shelter to the city and to recognize to homeless people their right to comfort, to dignity, to citizenship. And furthermore, if nature-based solution can bring quality of life, better quality of life of place, well, this place, this shelter is the right way, where right place where bringing comfort and we're improving quality of life. The third reason, because we bring and we set up a green wall in this shelter, is why we think this project is a good tool, is a powerful tool to represent, to better represent to the city this place that normally often is suffers from stereotypes and stigma. What about the co-design? Of course, we co-design as far as it was possible the project together, users, owners, managers and designers and producer. We discussed the performances according to the needs of people working here and living here. We discussed the placement of the green wall here.
we discussed the technical solution, which kind of plants would have simplified the management, the daily management, and would have involved the homeless people in its management. What about the future? So we are trying to figure out how to involve, how to keep homeless people involved in the care for the project, the care for the plants, according to the inclusion and secondary prevention policies that Sanidea, the cooperative that manages the place, is carrying out in favor of homeless people here in this shelter, in the other shelter of the cities.
Abbiamo deciso di utilizzare il nostro sistema BP modulo, che è un sistema che abbiamo brevettato e realizzato per costruire giardini verticali esterni, soprattutto in facciata. In questo caso la sfida importante era quella anche di costruire una struttura autoportante, in quanto non potevamo ancorarci direttamente alla parete dell'edificio. Quindi è stata realizzata una struttura in carpenteria con delle strutture appunto autoportanti, sulle quali poi noi abbiamo fissato i nostri profili e i nostri montanti a questa carpenteria. All'interno dei montanti vengono inserite poi delle mollette che permettono di accogliere il ferro che sostiene poi la vasca stessa, che è un po' il cuore del sistema e del principio costruttivo del giardino verticale. La vasca viene realizzata in un materiale che si chiama EPP, polipropilene espanso, che ha la caratteristica importante di essere un materiale fortemente resistente al sole e resistente anche al freddo. Quindi in questo caso quello che ci aspettiamo è anche un importante beneficio termico rispetto all'edificio che si trova dietro il giardino verticale. Le piante che abbiamo scelto per questo progetto sono tutte piante arbustive o erbacee perenni, quindi tutte piante da fiore e quindi tutte piante che saranno impollinate dagli insetti presenti nella città. Quindi la scelta botanica in questo caso ricade su delle essenze che possano avere anche una ridotta esigenza idrica e un ridotto apporto di nutrimenti. A proposito di impianto idrico, il sistema ovviamente al suo interno ha una centralina che comanda e coordina le elettrovalvole che controllano l'impianto di irrigazione. C'è una linea di mandata principale e poi vengono create delle file di ale gocciolanti orizzontali, una per ogni fila di vaschetta, in maniera tale che puntualmente le vaschette vengono bagnate in maniera omogenea. In più, a monte di tutto questo c'è un impianto di fertirrigazione che all'occorrenza porta del nutrimento alle piante, quindi semplicemente attraverso l'irrigazione riusciamo a portare il nutrimento ed eventualmente, se serve, anche fare dei trattamenti a livello appunto endoterapico, in questo caso direttamente alle piante con l'irrigazione.
C'è stata proposta quest'anno l'installazione di questa parete, noi abbiamo accolto subito l'idea perché ci sembrava insomma molto carino. La parete diciamo che ha anche una funzione oltre che estetica, ci sembrava potesse anche riparare un po' la struttura dal sole e dal calore estivo che qui è decisamente alto. Agli ospiti è piaciuta, essendo stati coinvolti già prima nel giardinaggio, quindi si sono molto interessati al funzionamento, a come venivano bagnate le piante, a manutenzione in generale di tutto. Tante persone si fermano, da che qua tutti guardavano un po' con curiosità, non sapendo neanche bene cosa fosse questo posto. Adesso capita spesso che passanti si fermino a chiedere informazioni su questa installazione. Tanti ci chiedono addirittura se siamo un orto urbano o se le piante sono in vendita. Insomma, ha attirato un po' l'attenzione del quartiere. Da che eravamo un po' un corpo estraneo, adesso ci notano un po' di più.
The best nature-based solution we created here in Torino is our community. A lot of people with a green heart, very focused on the realization of nature-based solutions. And we discuss, we are agree, we are disagree. But like nature, we never stop, we never give up.
So our last video, our last step into our trip closed really with a key learning about co-design and green community as one of the most important immaterial green infrastructure. Resilient communities, which like nature, I mentioned my colleague Laura, never stop and never give up. And this is what we are doing and we will do in Mirafiori South and in Torino, hopefully, and beyond. And I'm here now with Riccardo Saraco. Hi, Riccardo, my dear colleague, well known within the Progireg partner community as the tough leader of UP3.
Hi, Elena. I'm really happy to be here with you and with all the participants. As you know, Elena, a great added value of a European project, and especially the project financed by Horizon 2020 program, is to allow the collaboration between cities. And in the work package 3, the work package dedicated to MBS implementation, we have the opportunity to work with the front-runner city, Dortmund, Zagreb, and Ningbo in China. I have to thank them for their effort. And the nice thing that the final product of our activity, it will be an implementation plan that will be produced by each front-runner city, and it will contain all the information needed to realize different kinds of MBS in a living lab context, in order to replicate them in follower city, first of all, but also elsewhere.
Thank you, Riccardo, for reminding us this really important learning piece for us, for the other cities, and for anyone interested in knowing really how NBS are put in place practically in real context, in different environment, in different climate conditions, and so on. So now we have remotely Laura Rusconi from Verde Profilo and Cristian Campagnaro, again from the Polytechnic of Torino, to comment the video and answer to the questions which can come out from the chat. But I already have some questions for you. A question for Laura. First of all, it was difficult to adapt your technologies to places like a school or to the dormitory for homeless. And also yesterday we get a question for you, and you were asked to explain better the type of technologies you used in this context.
Okay, good morning everybody, and thank you. Let me start with a short explanation about our technology. The technology we patented 5 years ago has been specifically studied to solve the problems related to the construction of the green living walls. On the basis of the main problems that can affect the green walls, we worked to create a solution to reduce such problems. These problems are basically related to the quantity of water that are used in the green walls, and the most of the technologies you can find actually on markets are not able to control this quantity of water. So the plants at the bottom of a green wall needs a lot of water and receive a very small quantity of water, and plants at the bottom of the green wall receive a very big quantity of water. In this way, the roots are always dipped in the water, and is the main cause of the problems related with the green walls. Our technology has a reservoir of water about 0.6 liters and some holes to release the water that is not necessary to the systems. This allows us to have a technology able to reduce the problem related to the irrigation and get a better performance in terms of maintenance of the green living walls. Moreover, the material we have used to create the technology, the IPP, is also a material used for the insulation. So this gives us good performance also in terms of changing the warmth between the indoor and the outdoor. And above all, as everybody knows, green living walls improves the biodiversity and green solutions and the quality of the air and the quality of life, of course. Our technology is very easy to be placed. Our single system trays 60 by 20 by 20. You can place every tray in different location and position. The sides of the trays can be adjusted to perfectly fit on the project. So it's quite easy to apply this system in every situation. As you have seen in this project, we have just built a specific structure to accept our trays, and then the system was ready to be used. So it's quite easy.
Thank you, Laura. And now, Christian, you are our, let's say, social co-design man in Progireg. So please help us understand how co-design is important to promote best fitted solutions and also to provide its management along time.
Hello again. But the co-design in that testing, that project was a strategy to bring that project, that solution to citizens that normally are marginalized. So we decided to agree on them, with them on the solution since the beginning. So it was, that's why it was easy to develop that project with homeless people, with the social workers, and also by co-designing that solution, we succeed to figure out how to involve people in the next management. Of course, there is a technical solution to help and facilitate the management, but by co-designing that solution, I think will be easy in the future to keep homeless people and social workers connected to the solution, maybe help them to enjoy it and to take care for it better than before.
Thank you. And as you know, these interventions are not so much diffused in Italy by now. For instance, the indoor wall in the school is maybe a unique application in Italy. So up to you, Aki Learning, what could be done? And is a co-design an ingredient to help diffuse more indoor and outdoor walls through the involvement of people? Is this something important to promote such interventions or to facilitate them?
But in my experience, co-design is always a strategic tool. From the smallest things we have to design and develop to the biggest. Maybe when the solution is stranger than the usual solution that we implemented in such places, maybe the co-design is more useful. It is a way to step by step strengthen the connection with the users, the final users, with the producer and with the solution. So in my opinion, we can we can avoid to co-design every solution we want to implement.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Laura, for your help here. And now that you all also from abroad, you know very well Mirafiori South, and that we have already done a lot of work locally, we will ask to our partners, participants, followers, to work for us. So we are launching a very quick contest, which we call the What's for Mirafiori South. And we would ask you all to propose a new ingredient for our Mirafiori South Turin Living Lab recipe. Something maybe that you did not see, and that could be the icing on the cake for our Living Lab, starting from experiences. Anything you have in mind, and please, when proposing your idea, as we do in Progireg, try to propose something which is inspired by nature, is feasible, it's manageable, is socially inclusive, and of course it is sustainable, also from the economic point of view. And now, Riccardo, let's rock. Are you ready to see the proposal coming from our partners and followers?
Yeah, let's see. I'm really curious to see from external side the secret ingredient, the missing ingredient that we have to produce.
Great. So again, I would ask the help of Mattia to introduce the Mentimer game. And this context, What's for Mirafiori South? I try to go there to check the ideas which are coming out. Riccardo, if you want to do so. Let's see what it is spotting out. Somebody wrote that Mirafiori is missing fried onions. Enthusiasm, I do not agree. We have a lot of enthusiasm.
Yes.
Maybe, if possible, Mattia, to put this Mentimer slide on top of the screen, it is more feasible to see and comment for everybody. So please, partners, participate, give us any advice for our Living Lab. It is populating. Let's check if there is something new. Children. Fun?
No.
No? Something new? Sunshine? We cannot assure sunshine, even if we would like to do our best. Children is becoming bigger, so more involvement of children in co-design, maybe. This is something that we could improve. Sunshine is even bigger, but really for this, I cannot help. We could promise to host you sometime in Torino and keeping sure that the sun will be there. Honey, cooking events, okay. This is interesting, Riccardo, also because we are working on a project again in Mirafiori South, which is called the Fusilli project, and where we will try to match NBS activities in Mirafiori South with a living lab on food. So this is something that not only we have in mind, but we certainly improve this aspect of link between NBS, food, and community engagement. Something more? Honey. As you have seen yesterday in the video, we have the Progireg honey. So again, the link with nature and food is bigger and bigger, and it is thought by our community also as a way of economic development and of qualifying our territory, our district. Let's see, and then cooking events, and coffee. No, cooking or coffee. I cannot see when it seems
Coffee.
Coffee. Maybe it is the time. NBS tourism, I see also. Okay.
Yeah, this is a nice suggestion also, to use NBS also with a tourist purpose. What we are doing also in theory.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that you made your choice. You gave us your feedback and suggestions, and the outcome is good for us because the number of suggestions was not so huge. So maybe we have done somehow well. But it is interesting, this suggestion, to promote the link between nature and food, and to promote, let's say, green tourism in the area. This is a very nice suggestion from your part. What do you think, Riccardo?
Yeah, I agree. And I'm happy to see that some people are asking for food events and something like food, because we are working on it, and also to foster a food system in order to guarantee sustainable food and equity food in the city, and not only in the city, but spreading it on all over Europe.
Yeah, really. And food and community goes very well together.
Exactly.
And this is something that we really take as a key learning from our future activities in Progireg and Fusili and beyond. So now we have done a good trip in Mirafiori South. We have discussed with the front runner cities partners. We have learned today about aquaponics. You have explained the important value of cooperation among cities and the future deliverable implementation plan, which will condense these takeoff and key learnings. And so it is, I'm happy to launch a video about network in nature, which is a new funded service created to support projects like Progireg and other, let's say, the other NBS sister projects, and not only, and also to connect communities around Europe to synergize efforts, to collaborate more, and to maximize impact across Europe. So I do not know if Nea from ICLEI, Nea Pakarinen from ICLEI, our partner, is there. Otherwise, we can launch the video and comment it afterwards. Okay, thank you to our partner ICLEI, a European Network for Local Sustainability, which gathers public authorities and municipalities and beyond in our travel towards greening and sustainability. And it is interesting that there is a European funded service to help us all to grow together in the Green Deal Challenge. It is now almost time for the closure and final greetings, and to do so, I'm happy to introduce the big opportunities for all European cities and territory to scale such NBS interventions, which is represented by Next Generation Europe funding, which I guess that all or most of you heard about. Next Generation Europe funding will have strong priority to help regenerate territories and communities around the concept of Green Deal. So I have the pleasure to have here today the National Agency for Cohesion Policy, the Italian National Agency for Cohesion Policy, represented here by its director, Giorgio Martini, to help us set the path for future replication of nature-based solutions or other clean tech interventions, starting, if I guess, from the first round, which is called React EU. So, Giorgio, I invite you to tell us a little bit more about the European panorama in this field, and of course, with a focus on Italy. And first of all, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, can you hear me? There's an echo. Okay. May you?
You are the colleague Giovanni Pineschi?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm Giovanni Pineschi. Please. There's a very strong echo. I try to.
Giovanni, you should lower the volume.
Yes. So I'll try. It's better.
Much better, thank you.
Okay, so my name is Giovanni Pineschi. I'm not Giorgio Martini. I'm talking on behalf of him. He is committed in a very important speaking now with the Commission. So, as you were saying, I'm talking on behalf of Giorgio Martini of the Territorial Agency of Cohesion. That's a central body of the member states, Italy, devoted to the implementation of cohesion funds and all the funds also national. So we have a very important commitment in the implementation of the urban policies for the 14 metropolitan cities, because we are directly responsible of the program upon Metro. It's a program devoted to urban policies in the 14 metropolitan cities of Italy. So we are working together, these cities, both in a descending phase, that's to say, to find together a solution to urban policies on different issues we are facing in the implementation phase. So we are working together, the cities and the representatives, in a sort of not hierarchized collective work. It's called multi-level governance technique. It's very interesting because we are not working in a hierarchy, but we are working together, find solution, dialoguing with all the components of the cities. So we are at the same table, at the same level. This is very important, very effective, very fruitful cooperation. So the POM metro in this period of this programming period is concentrated in a few topics: social inclusion, mobility, and energy efficiency, digital agenda. But with the pandemic, the ecological transition was dramatically pushed, and had a very accelerating effect. Therefore, in this day, we are constructing together the cities a new extension of the POM metro, the existing POM metro. This new extension, this new addendum, provides approximately 900 million euros for investments, for initiatives that are focused mainly on green issues, green transition. That's why it's so important to establish a contact between your kind of work, experimental work, and our duties, because it's very important to transfer these experimental results, scaling up and to diffuse to the other cities and the other territories. So it's very, very important. So in this phase, the 14 metropolitan cities already proposed some solution. Many of these solutions are actually nature-based solution with green infrastructure and circular economy mainly. This is the main subject. So please note that these two topics have to go together, because economy, ecological transitional economies and green infrastructure has to go together beyond, because the economic and functional aspect is very, very important beside the technical green solution. One supports the other, let's say. So, so another thing, green infrastructure in our way of view is something more complex than a simple green wall or simple aquaculture. It's something related and integrated with a policy of green transition. So different components have to go together to speed, to accelerate, to foster this process of greening. This process is based on different sub-objectives. I try to say several of this. The first, counteract the carbon dioxide emissions in the atmosphere. This is the first. The second is mitigate the effects of the urban activities on the climate. Okay, this is very important. Protect the climate toward urban activities, so reduce the pressure. The third is protect citizens from the effect of the climate. Heat island, for instance, hydrogeological instability and water crisis. The crisis of water is very important, especially in the south city of the south of Italy. And then reduce pollution emissions, improve air quality, reduce soil pollution, and change the urban environment more in general by creating conditions of greater livability and usability for all citizens. Okay, these are the main objectives that are green infrastructure and economy based on circular principles should take over. Okay. For this reason, we are very, very interested in knowing the result of this project, Progireg, because we believe that the results of this experimentation conducted through Horizon or other experimental tools funded by European Union or national research initiative can feed these operational programs like Home Metro in the implementation of the solutions that have to be integrated and put deep inside the way of produce city, way to living in cities, and the way to produce economy in a urban context, in an urban ecosystem. Okay. From this point of view, we want to make some very, very important recommendation, because we are in the other side, in the side of adopting your solution, your experimentations and your trials to be in condition to apply, to present, to produce, to put in practice, in one word. Okay. So the first recommendation is always please try to communicate the transferability of this solution test. This is very important in order to enable other cities to understand how to replicate the experience. This is very important, the first thing. The second thing is to always care to communicate the measurability of the results that are able to return their degree of efficiency and effectiveness based on the investment used. Because we have money, we have to explain to cities, to operators, to policymakers, how much we need to invest and what are the results in terms of investment. This is very, very important. How much and what improves. The third recommendation is to always communicate the conditions of applicability, both in environmental and financial terms. What are the conditionalities to apply your solution? How much intervention costs, where and how, and with how much money to intervene? Okay. Where not, for instance. The fourth and last recommendation is to always communicate the beneficiaries and the specific target group that implement and benefit from this such solution. Who implements and who benefits? It's not a banal thing. It's very important to very carefully focus on who play the role of investor, who play the role of builder, of constructor, of a realizer, and who plays the role of beneficiary, both the managers. In fact, the last but not least recommendation, to always communicate the benefit and specific target group that guarantee the functionality or the NBS or urban green infrastructure over time in a management ordinary everyday dimension. This is very, very important. I'd say is the most important things beyond the mere realization of the infrastructure. Who manages, who cares, who take money to care and guarantee the survival of this infrastructure. This is very, very important. Okay, these are the most important measure in our vision to grant the survival and the widespread of this solution over the cities, for not only the 14th metropolitan city, but all the cities, through a real process of green transition that is not easy, is expensive. It needs a very important cultural shift of behavior, both in the citizen, but also in the city makers and in decision makers, people that is involved in this process. So I thank you very much to invite us, And the recommendation, okay, stay in touch and try to communicate your results because our task is to put in practice and to diffuse to the other territories and cities. Thank you everybody.
Great, thank you Giovanni for your intervention, which was really perfect at the end of this today conference. And of course, we will assure we will keep in touch with our implementation plan, which will not only summarize the takeoff regarding Torino Living Lab, but also from the other European cities. And I can assure that these recommendations will be followed into the draft of this implementation plan. I took some notes, so I remember for everybody: transferability, measurability, conditionalities for applicability, and communication to beneficiaries and to the people who can assure functionality over time. So this is key learnings that we are trying to put in practice now, and that will be let's say, take into consideration into the implementation plan. And also, I thank you because you have really underlined something which is not only and which cannot be anymore only an inspiration, but it is a responsibility for all of us. So the ecological transition, the green transition, because the pandemic has really changed our way of think, our way of life, has really impacted on our life. We lost people, we lost our certainties, but now we really have to take the positive thing that is the responsibility to do better, to do differently, and to promote the green transitions for our health, of course. And so let me thank all of you. All partners, speakers, colleagues who supported this event, and daily with our activities in our lively and proactive Torino Living Lab in Mirafiori South. And really thank you to speakers and participants for making this event familiar besides distances. And again, I thank also again Greenpeace for hosting us. And what more, I hope to see you very, very, very soon in Torino, embrace each other, and see from real what we showed from your screens. And remember, we closed as we have begin nature for renewal. Thank you very much.
Le nostre città hanno bisogno di verde, se restano grigie è proprio l'uomo che ci perde, per questo l'Europa ci dà soluzioni, sono 8 e van bene per tutte le stagioni, si ispirano alla natura e unite ci danno futuro e più cultura. Economia e società tutti insieme, ecco alcuni esempi, intoniamoli per bene, pareti e poi tetti coperti di fiori, insetti biodiversi che fanno da impollinatori, giardini, energia più pulita, cantiamo il domani, sosteniamo